Please stop moving the camera.
Do you guys like hair videos? If so, sorry. The second question, do you like breakfast? What's your favorite kind of breakfast? Are you a pancakes fan? Are you a French toast fan? Are you a waffles fan? French toast is the right answer. And what's the closest thing to French toast that's even worse for you and you like drizzle fucking cream
Sugar
all over
everywhere?
it? Whatever the
Icing?
drizzle icing, thank you. All over it. What is it? Cinnamon rolls. So Shelby and by Shelby and I mean Shelby the other day made incredible cinnamon rolls. We've had them again since then. They were so good, and I was like, we should just share this with the world.
Which, with the world, we're using a tasty recipe again.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
So I thought it would be funny because Shelby actually perfected this, unlike the lava cakes, because we fucked that up. And so if you came and watched that and you were like, nice, I'm gonna make lava cakes with them, you also would have fucked it up. But if you watch along with this and you're like, I'm also going to make and follow it because dumb Shelby and Spencer can do it, I can do it too.
I also do want to say, if you watched our cinnamon roll mug cake, this is like a full-blown, like, we make dough, we roll it, like, it's much more involved, like you're actually making a cinnamon roll, there is yeast involved, and it takes a bit of a process with rising and whatnot, but I will say, these are so much better than the mug cake ones.
So much. Oh my god, they're so much better. The other thing is, yeah, there's a lot of waiting involved. We are recording this at night, we're prepping it, and then tomorrow morning we're going to pop it in. We'll record it all. But just to kind of give you a heads up, we've done it both ways. Shelby did it once where she did it all in one day, the prep, the rise, the wait, and all that, and then
we ate it that day, yeah.
And then we also did it where she tried it at night, and so that's how we're doing it this time, just because it's a little easier. So, again, we know both ways work. And specifically the night one, because it's a little more convenient.
Yeah, and these tend to make roughly 8 to 9 cinnamon rolls.
They're big.
They're pretty big. Again, it's like if you went to Cinnabon and basically got a singular cinnamon roll. So yeah, so these are great if you have like friends over, family, you want to show off your baking skills. They're a nice little treat that not everyone might make. So let's get right into it, why don't we?
Okay everybody, so this is what you're gonna need. You're gonna need some sugar, you're gonna need some milk, you're gonna need some butter, you're gonna need some sugar. As you can tell, Shelby, water. You're gonna have to, as you can tell, Shelby laid everything out for us already.
Okay.
To make the process as quick as possible, I'm not done. So first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna take the sugar.
No.
You're gonna take the sugar.
No, you're not.
Take the sugar. You're gonna hold it up to your face. Get it real close.
Where on my face?
Just at your eyes. You want it at eye level. Stop! That's too close! Get it up real close to your eye though. And then really just make sure you can see every grain.
Okay.
After you finish counting, set the sugar back down. You're ahead of me. Nice. Now, take the milk. Sip it.
No!
Why?
It's our cooking milk. Can I start now?
Sure.
This is step 1 of mixing. You need it to be warm in order for yeast to react. So what I like to do is you need like melted butter, and it's not like warm butter like most baking things. No, it needs to be, this shit needs to be melted. So I put it in the microwave for 30-second intervals as to not burn it, and this shit needs to be liquid. Also,
stop saying shit.
I heat my milk in a mug prior just to make sure everything's warm. So I just put this in for, again, probably 30 seconds per mug, and I just do 1 cup. I didn't even say any measurements. 1 stick of butter, melted, 2 cups milk, which I just do a mug at a time, and then put it in here with a 1/4 cup of sugar and mix it all together. And that is your step 1. I just use the microwave to heat this in case I didn't say that too. Real easy.
There's somebody in our microwave.
Who is it? Is it Glue Glob?
It me. Am Glue Glob. Butter.
Yeah.
I think what you should do for that.
Also, I would keep this bowl because we need to melt more. Heads up.
When I said butter, you should like freeze frame it and then like bring up like a really cool thing where it says melted.
Have you ever, sir? Hi. This is Butter Incorporation. Hi.
This is really
Have
gross
you-
because we're in a pandemic, but I literally just wiped my nose.
So this isn't the warmest.
Do you do like the
I'm just gonna dump it in.
the baby test?
I'm just
Where
saying.
you like stick your whole wrist in?
Alright, so you already put the second cup of milk in, and next will be the quarter cup of sugar, which you can just plop.
Fun fact, we didn't have a quarter cup measurement until like
The
last
pandemic. So you can use a whisk. I have a habit of using forks because I don't like having to clean whisks, and just shake this bad boy up, and
It's more of a stir, not a shake, but okay.
I can start shaking. Back away.
Go ahead.
It's gonna get everywhere.
Could you imagine if it got... There's sugar on my phone.
Alright, so once that bad boy is all stirred up, it says to take a packet of active dried yeast.
We prefer Fleischmann's.
Fleischmann's active dry yeast. Okay, so
Drier than the Sahara Desert.
It just says 1 packet.
Yeast so dry you'd think it came out of your wife's vagina. We're keeping that one in.
Yeah. It just says 1 packet on Tasty's website, which, in case you don't know, it's approximately 2 1/4 teaspoons if you're working out of a larger container of it. So this, it says to just kind of sprinkle all over the top, and then it needs to sit for 1 minute to hopefully start to activate this yeast.
60 seconds later in 3, 2, 1.
So after your yeast has sat for a minute, you're gonna go, what did that do? It doesn't really look any different. I have no idea. So next, we're gonna add 5 cups of flour. So we're just gonna
What would Tasty do? Oh.
get our flour and add 5 cups to our cinnamon rolls. Also, just add half a teaspoon of salt, and then you're gonna mix it all up. Tasty says with a wooden spoon, which I think...
What would Tasty do? More like, fuck 'em, we're using a fork.
Yeah, we are. Oh, look at that goo. We love goo.
So this is the consistency that's supposed to look like?
It's gonna keep basically getting more and more doughy as you keep mixing it together.
Alright,
Pretty
so
thick.
is that pretty much like generally like where you want to get it to? And then
Yeah,
you
I
let
mean,
it...
it's gonna be like a little sticky. You're not touching it yet, but obviously can't really see any too many patches of like wetness or flour. So just making it all look mixed together.
So yeah, it looks pretty much like a lump of wet dough. So after you have all that mixed together and you have it in this wet dough, what's next?
You can cover it. I always just kind of literally just cover it with a towel. Or some people like to do saran wrap. And you're gonna let it sit for an hour, where the yeast actually does its job and should make your dough rise a little bit.
Alright, so real quick, this is the height that it's at and what it looks like, and then in an hour it looks like this. I don't even know if it really looks different.
It doesn't look that different. It's a little more like fluffy, like thicker maybe. It blew up a little bit.
Hopefully it'll be easier to tell in the video. Okay, so
or not at all.
yeah, so after you let it sit for
An hour.
half past the freckle.
All right, so here, if you were making it basically right away, the recipe recommends like preheating your oven, obviously greasing your pan and whatnot, which we're still gonna do because we put it in the pan overnight. We'd be doing those sorts of steps right now, but we're going to flour our surface, our beautiful high-end surface. We're gonna flour the crap out of this because this thing gets pretty big. So now you want to lightly knead it. It is a little bit sticky. So you're gonna want to lightly knead it so it kind of loses its stickiness and is totally like formed into a ball of dough. It might still be a bit sticky at points, but it should, as you can see, sort of morph.
Holy shit.
Into a good looking ball of dough.
Dude, that looks so cool.
Which then you can...
I'm easily impressed, but like that was awesome.
It's gonna start doing
Can
this.
I spank it?
Yeah, you can spank it. Oh yeah.
What step did you miss?
It said to add an extra half cup of flour afterwards, but honestly our dough is already pretty dry.
Yeah, it seems really doughy.
But it does recommend to add another half cup of flour.
Okay, something to keep in mind, depending on how these come out.
So we're just flattening this bad boy out, trying to keep into as much of a rectangle shape as possible.
I mean, that is a lot.
I know.
That is so much. Like, for reference, can you just like put your hand like...
That takes up so much space.
That's insane. It's like 8 of your hands.
And this is thick, like, that's like 1/2 inch dough. 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch.
I feel like this is like the perfect, especially because of like being in quarantine and everything. Like, obviously you can tell this is kind of like a bit, there's a bit to it, obviously a lot of weighting and stuff.
But it's really not like...
But like, I feel like...
complicated.
You know, change things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Make yourself some cinnamon rolls.
And I feel like it's a treat that not a lot of people make for themselves. You know?
Right.
I can't really go much farther on the edge. Okay, so 2 things now. Now that you have your dough rolled, you have to essentially like put something on it that's gonna make the cinnamon inside stick to it. So we're gonna melt. They recommend some ridiculous amount. They recommend another 3/4 cup of butter. There's nothing. Another 3/4 cup of butter. I only do like 2 tablespoons. So here, this is 1 tablespoon. It might be a little light, but
You're just gonna go with that?
yeah, probably. Just gonna melt this, and then this just gets spread all over it as like the glue for your brown sugar cinnamon mixture, which because I'm lazy, doing the exact same bowl as the dough.
Alright, so you should be able to tell. You can see there's kind of like a moisture. So like there's a couple of spots like in the middle that were a little dry, but you can tell that 3/4 of a cup you definitely don't need.
More than that.
Yeah, again, we were a little light, but it should be good. And right here is the just brown sugar and cinnamon mix. It's how much brown sugar again?
It's 3/4 cup brown sugar to 2 tablespoons cinnamon. You literally just spread this. Sorry. You literally just spread this evenly over the dough.
And these are so much better. Like, I feel like we can't go back to the mug.
No, I literally feel like such an ass for anyone I introduce the mug to because this is so much better.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to... You can use butter to kind of prep this, or I just use our canola oil. So, now we just roll this bad boy up, which... If it was floured, should be relatively easy. Sometimes I get some parts a little sticky, but should relatively easily. This one for me is definitely much more linear. Like, if anything, I should probably be rolling it that way. I'm gonna go the other way.
And these things like blow up.
Yeah,
like
they
real
really
big.
do.
So definitely make sure you have like a decently sized pan.
If you can kind of attempt your best to close them, just doing a light pinch, maybe even a light fold.
You do the fork pie crust method.
What?
You heard me.
And I kind of just squish the ends a little bit, just because Tasty says to cut them off, basically because they're not aesthetically pleasing, and I say, fuck you, I'm gonna eat every part of this goddamn cinnamon roll. So, now you cut them apart into about 1.5 inch pieces. So I don't know, I just kind of estimate something like that roughly. Is that way too big? I do like that. What?
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
I just kind of... you're probably bound to lose a bit out of the bottom, but you know, just kind of do your best in transporting them and plopping them. and they're just gonna blow up in the oven.
All right. So the one in your hand.
This is where we tried them in the first 2 times, and they like filled. I mean, as you can probably even see, they filled this thing.
I love the water.
It filled this thing, and it kind of created a little bit of trouble with the insides, like between them, fully cooking. Sometimes they'd still be a little doughy, whereas the outsides would be golden brown. So it was fine, like it still tasted really good, and we would just take one off and then put it back in the oven to help it kind of firm up. But we thought we'd try this bigger pan, space them out a bit. Spencer had the idea of putting them like this in hopes that they like will balloon up and create a look of a cinnamon roll that like meshes together, which probably, because no joke, these really do like blow up, which I'm laughing that we keep saying that and I'm waiting for them to not do that whatsoever. Obviously, if you preheated your oven and you were cooking them right now, they recommend letting these sit for another 30 minutes just to really let the dough rise and get really fluffy for baking. Or if you're prepping them, I'm just gonna wrap this up with tin foil and throw it in the I try to let it sit out a little bit to let it rise, because obviously it needs to be warm to rise, but then overnight I just throw it in the fridge, and then you can pop them out in the morning, set them on the oven as they're like, as it's preheating, and toss them in, and that's it.
Guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen.
So it's now day 2 of making cinnamon rolls. So you just started preheating the oven now. Preheat it for 350?
Yeah, for 350, and when it's at heat, you're gonna heat it for 25 to 30 minutes. It's really just making sure you're gonna see them like blow up and get golden brown. I think with like pastries, you can more just like visualize it. So these did get a little bit thicker in sitting out. So I'm excited
They're
to
also
see.
oozing a little.
Yeah,
I wonder if that's
what
just
it's
probably
like.
from being cold, and then like it kind of like just like seeps out.
And now while you're doing the oven, the last step is icing, which you could prep the night before, but I always just kind of wait because it's the right consistency. It is going to be a cup of powdered sugar, I believe 2 tablespoons of milk, and half a teaspoon of vanilla.
Tasty.
Here she goes.
Bye.
We'll see you in 25 to 30 minutes.
All right.
We've waited forever for this
Yes.
moment.
So our temperatures were a little off, so it took us a little bit extra, but typically the 25 to 30 minutes should do you well.
Yeah.
And
They hopefully look maybe something like this. Look how much they blow up.
dude, it is insane. So they obviously like,
If you had
weren't perfect. They fell over a little bit, but like you can see why this was like the upgrade that we needed in size. This one obviously looks the worst because it really fell. But like, I mean, all of them, honestly, like they look like cinnamon rolls. Cool.
Firm up
Let's
a
get
bit.
these
Let's
things
get the icing on them.
iced.
Ready for this? Oh my Lanza.
You really blew the load right in the beginning.
What are you talking about?
On the last
Spread.
God.
Little spread.
There, yeah.
Honestly, I was thinking about it. My family on Christmas would always do cinnamon rolls, just like canned.
Mm-hmm.
And like these would be so easy to just prep the night before and like throw in the oven while like you're hanging out on Christmas morning.
Like as soon as the first piece of wrapping paper gets torn, you pop them in.
You pop them in. Look at that.
And by the time you're done, they're ready to eat.
Yeah. So these definitely cooked in between.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you
So
want them to be
typically-
soft, but normally we'd have them like goo.
Typically they were like they would like ooze out basically, and I don't even know how to describe them. Almost like a truck lane tar. Fair. Take a bite,
Yeah.
and then
Oh my god, it's hot. It's gonna burn me. That's really good.
you gotta do like the Master Chef. where
Yeah.
Graham used to always like really inspect it. You're like taking me through it. I'm listening intently. You're like
Yeah, so the
Okay.
cinnamon roll, yeah, cinnamon and rolls.
And then he basically just like, typically he does like a monstrosity cut. So like if it was like an egg, or something in the middle that you'd like maybe want to like take a little bit of the garnish first, you know, like take a little bit. Okay, and then he would just do like a really just like, and then he'd watch that ooze and really inspect it, and then he would also just take like the biggest bite. Incredible.
Will you stop choking over there? I'm trying to take pretty shots of our cinnamons.